Welcome to Down South Football Podcast, man. We're coming to you on this Wednesday evening, coming to you with another Down South Football short, man. Talking about what we saw today. Just for a brief minute, we saw Deion Sanders and Nick Saban on the Noon Sports Center. I think it was Noon. The Noon Sports Center, man, and just want to discuss about, some of the things that was said, some of the misconceptions that people are already trying to make it seem like Deion was talking about Nick or Nick was talking about Deion and all that kind of stuff like that. Just talk about that little conversation for a minute, man. Just coming at y'all. But y'all know in the building, man, we got our boy, Mr. Chauncey Tuck, Mr. Media himself. We got Mr. DL Gardner. New name is Nino Brown. Nino Brown. If you listen to our episode we just posted about NIL, you would know why we call him Nino Brown. And then, Lord help us all, we got Lee Corso, Mr. I can't take nothing from it. He got so many names. There's Mr. I am DJ Double Dose, better known as Ben Dennis. His legal name is Ben Dennis. Okay, we'll call him by a government name.
Keeping the legal name, you know what I'm saying?
So, fellas, I just want to know, man. Anybody can start off. We watched the interview, and y'all watched everything that goes on, what has gone on behind it. What was your initial thoughts after you first watched it today? Anybody want to chime in? Go ahead and chime in first.
I'll kick it off. I think Nick was Coach Saban was very humble. He has again, I can tell he has that quietness about himself, like he's just towing the line and saying what he got to say. Even though it was sponsored by Aflac, and you will know that it is sponsored by Aflac, that both of them were on that show. On that segment. I think he told the company line, say what he had to say, and there was nothing much of it. But Deion, on the other hand, I think it came out that Deion and mostly all the coaches when it comes to NIL are on the same page. They want structure, they want to figure this out. Like instead of boosters, like Deion said. I think Coach Saban said something like, Coach Saban said we have these collectives. What Dar brought up last week. We talked about the collectives. Coach Deion said we don't even know what those are. We don't have collectives. We don't think we know about it. These boosters, and I think when it comes to that, I think he was explaining, even with him hiring Coach Zimmer. Even Zimmer tried to give, if he got a chance to do all this, but even he said then, we're not going to be able to compete because we don't have enough players, right. Scholarship players, and I think he made a great point. I think to me, the interview helped people understand and separate how big of a gap it is from Alabama and a HBCU Division II school.
Right.
Okay. I go next. First of all, it's HBCU Division I school.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was going to correct.
I want to correct that. Don't worry about it. I got it. Yeah, Jackson State Division I. Quit looking up at there. So,
y'all already know. Y'all already know.
Division I FCS, sir.
FCS.
Already started Turkey Day. Y'all already know what time it is.
Yeah, you already know. I ain't letting them slide with shit. But with that being said, I think one thing Tuck finally got right was that he did make the statement that there is a big disparity. When we talk about NIL and how it affects college football, I don't know how much it affects HBCU. Actually, if I'm really being frank about it, it may hurt HBCU, and here's why. Deion hinted to it. He said that he wants to get players to stop thinking about NIL and start thinking about NFL, because if they're thinking NIL, then they can't be thinking HBCU.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? They got to be thinking big time college football, because that's where the bucks. If I'm trying to go to this 5-star guy, and if it's about the money, then I'm not considering HBCU. HBCU is always going to be bigger than just the money. It's more about the culture. It's more about being a game changer, trendsetter. So, on one hand, this movement that we have into HBCU is great, but you also have this train riding alongside of it, called NIL. What's going to win? So, So I think NIL is great for the kids. I think that and Saban hinted at it. It's nothing against kid being able to make money off his name, but at the same time, in the HBCU world, I don't know how great it is when you're trying to attract the best of the best.
Yeah,
I put it that way. So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, and then just real quick, I was just gonna say, like Deion said, Coach Sanders Prime said, he said, "Where is the name, image, and likeness at?" You know what I'm saying? Right. He acts like we got these kids doing all this stuff, but where is the NIL part? Well, unless we're just giving these kids and money, like you said, I can totally see your point where you're coming from, that the HBCUs will struggle if it's all about the money and then not about the NFL, because that should be the ultimate goal.
And I even like what Coach Sanders said when he was speaking on it, even to the point that he was saying with Nick, he was just like, look, you got guys now that's their sole focus. Like he said, they're not even worrying about who their position coach is, who was this, who was that. It's about what can I get from this school. So at that point, it's almost like you got kids starting to develop a mercenary mentality. Like, hey, look, I'm just going up here because they paying me the most money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I don't really care, if it's this. If I win while I'm there, cool. If I don't, cool. And like Coach Sanders is basically saying, like, look, you need kids to rein in their focus on more of what they, as far as developing them as men and what it is that they want more out of college. Because like even Nick, Coach Saban said, he was like, look, when we all went to college for a couple of different reasons, and developing ourselves and becoming bigger people and better people. That's what we all went to college for. And if we did land a good job or whatever the case may be, that was fine. But so for me, I see both sides of the argument. And like what Coach Sanders was saying, like, hey, look, we can't try to position ourselves to compete with that, but we want to be able to make sure our players get compensated in a certain way. But we just have to be able to, stay within where we are and stay like that.
Okay, I will say this, like, I'm about 50-50 on a lot of what was said, and I'm since we own this particular topic right here right now, I'm gonna say this, like, there are some HBCUs who have collectives. I know Grambling is definitely one, because that's a friend of the show, Yard Talk. She's in charge of that. That they might not have the same levels of collectives, but I think that's one big thing. And it was something else that was said. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was about the collectives and everything else, and about the focus. I think that's what we got to get away from. It's like the focus is because that's what we see. Same way that I was talking about the NIL, it's like this is what's magnified. Let's be honest. We're in the media, but at the same time, look what was magnified of what Nick said about Jimbo. Okay. I'm talking about everybody in the world took it and ran with it, not knowing that Nick is talking to his boosters because of NIL and because of the collectives. So we just have to be careful with the narrative, because she even fed into it. Like, hey, like, here we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I think talking about the whole conversation with Coach Saban and Coach Sanders is basically like they needed to do that, even though they had cleared the air behind the scenes, because really, to be told, it's on a much bigger level, and I'm not going to get into why right now. Of like, I'm going for, y'all know me. My thing is inclusion, not exclusion. And until we get these conversations like a Deion with a Coach Saban, y'all can say it's just for Affleck, not us here, but what people can say. It's like, that's what I see. I see two coaches that respect what each other's doing. You can say what you want to say about Nick because he's Alabama, and a lot of people have issues with him. He's never been really disrespectful to coaches on any level. I mean, our good friend of the show, Coach Teddy Keaton at Allen University, has a great relationship with Nick Saban. Got his personal phone number, can call and talk to him, do whatever he wants to do with it. But not Nick answers the phone, it's a different story. But I mean, it's good that them two got to come on and kind of like clear the air, and like they had different opinions. That was the part I love. Niggas are talking about, well, we gotta get the collectors on control. Deion, like, well, can you just give me one?
Can you give me a collector? Like,
hey, can you give me a
collector? Just let me borrow one. You know what I'm saying? Let me hold some.
I do agree with Dave too, though, on some of it, on some of what he was saying, because it's like we gotta start looking at. Really, I know we refer to HBCUs as HBCUs, but we got to get that name synonymous with football. Not with, we going to see the band. We going to do this or doing that. And what comes with that, even though that a lot of SWAC fans are upset, not just SWAC, MEAC, HBCU football in general, are upset with the fact that Deion has brought so much attention. There are some who are happy that he has brought that attention because he's so outspoken on that particular subject. But man, look, Nick is gonna be Nick, bruh, with this $94 million contract. Okay, if he works it out, that man would have made almost $200 million from the University of Alabama.
Yeah,
and that's just
what the hell?
That's just salary. I mean,
they ain't even counting.
Talk about.
We're not talking about. We're not talking about Aflac. We're not talking about Nike.
Mercedes.
We're not talking about Mercedes.
Like, we talking
about
and I don't know what type of incentives he has within his contract.
There's a lot of escalators in his contract, but he owns 2 Mercedes dealerships, guys, and one of them is an AMG preferred service. Look it up. If you don't know how much you have to make and how much you have to sell to continue a AMG personalized service dealership, there's only 3 of them in Germany. That's all I'm gonna say. There's only 4 of them in the whole United States.
And I want to go back up for a second, Renard, when you was talking about how people feel about Deion and the SWAC. I have a little bit of a different perspective. I think that a lot of people, Deion gets a lot of flack because his persona and what he's brought to the SWAC, and I love what he's done for HBCU. But a lot of people are screaming that, hey, we've been here all the time. We didn't just appear.
We've been putting the work the whole time.
Right. And so I think that gets a negative connotation or a negative tone, which makes people think that they're talking down on Deion. Only thing they're trying to say is that we've been overlooked, but now we do have a voice. Now the question is, where do you go from here?
But
because Deion can't live forever, he's not going to coach at Jackson State.
He's not going to coach at
Jackson State. But in that same token, though, you say you got those people who saying we've been here forever and all this stuff. Who can say that? What coach and what program can say, hey, we've been here forever?
Grambling.
I think the Gramblin's of the world.
But they got a new coach though, right?
But
I'm just saying historically.
Yeah,
historically. Bottom line, historically, Grambling ain't did nothing, right?
Since
Eddie Robinson, I'm talking about.
I mean, I think he did enough for everybody.
He did enough for everybody, but okay, that's not what I'm asking. I'm talking about it's all about what have you done for me lately, right? And what Eddie Robinson did was he was the most winningest coach ever, period, right? But other than that, since Eddie Robinson,
Doug Williams had a really nice run.
Okay, how long? We're talking about 20 years, though, right?
No, we ain't talking about 20. I don't think it's quite 20. I mean, what's your point, Tuck?
If people get, I want to say why people get mad at Deion because they're saying we've been here. You ain't did nothing with it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, let me rebut that. Let me give a rebuttal to that. Okay, being in that culture,
right?
That whole culture is about tradition and everything else. It's not saying that you haven't done anything. Their point is the same struggle that they have been having with what's the boy last name? Like Jacoby, the guy that played at South Carolina State last year that just made the NFL roster. So basically what they're saying is that now people want to pay attention because of a Travis Hunter and because of what Deion is doing. They're saying that, hey, we're FAMU. FAMU got their own history. It's a different history. It's not the same history because whether you talking Magic City Classic, Orange Blossom Classic, Well, you're talking about what's the one I'm missing? I'm missing.
I mean, you got Boombox Clash. You got there's a ton of them.
You got
Whatever you're talking about. So when
the Morehouse part, you got these classes, but I'm not saying. But I'm just saying, why are people trying to jump on Deion?
Well, let me finish.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because Deion is just like anything else. Deion has become the most people outside the HBCUs, probably outside the HBCU culture. Okay, there's all been this huge inner culture,
right?
Especially when you're talking about it. And we didn't care whether we was getting attention or not. Mm-hmm. But what happened was when Deion comes to it, people have on the negative side of what they were saying is that it's like I told them, the best thing that happened to them last year was when South Carolina State beat them. Mm-hmm. Because what people were thinking was like, oh, Deion got a super team because he Deion Sanders, not because it's HBCU football. And that was no disrespect to Jackson State. It's not a disrespect to anybody else who's done anything. But the bottom line is like, you got Deion coming in here. That is great. That is wonderful. But don't disrespect the other culture and the tradition that was already there to make it seem like HBCUs is Jackson State or bust.
Right.
That's
it's like he's become the, I guess you would say, de facto face. And it's like, he's become the de facto face of it when you do got people that's like, hey man, we've been here for a minute. Like, this man ain't been here but 2-3 years. So it's like, but at the same time, you are bringing the casual.
That's what I'm saying.
You are bringing the casual fan and the casual viewer in, which ultimately benefits everyone.
We know how Coach Prime is, right? We know his persona. Is that his fault that he's doing this?
Oh, it's not.
No, that's not what we're saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you're not in the HBCU culture, the ones that's really deep into it, you kind of see where they're coming from. Like, they live and die with the culture, not with the football. Mm-hmm. They live and die with the university. Like, David is an alumni of Alabama A&M University. You know, if they didn't have a quill, if they lost 7 Magic City classes in a row,
gonna be there.
That pride is gonna be there. Homecoming ain't gonna go away because so you got a lot of people now that are exposed to what the culture of an HBCU is, and they feel like they've been put on the back burner. That's not everybody. It's just in some ways they've been feeling that way. But you know, sometimes the ones with the loudest stick are gonna be the ones that gonna talk the most. So that's just, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Tuck. Like, no, it's not Deion's fault. And like I said, most people I talk to have a love and hate relationship with it, especially the ones that are with Jackson State. But I think in the end, it's great for all HBCUs. But getting back to the original point, man, I'm happy to see Coach Saban and Coach Sanders own the same thing and clearing up this feud that the media was trying to bring on it because y'all should do what down south football stand by, which is inclusion, not exclusion. So if you understood that, then you would understand where everything was coming from. If you don't know what that means everything. So inclusion, not exclusion. That's where we are with everything. So just a little summary of that, man. Y'all, we got more coming. If you're seeing this video, that means you're getting ready to see us again tonight, which is going to be Thursday night for the first prediction show of the year, which means Ben has to defend his last place title.
2 years running.
2 years running. I mean, you know,
I ain't going first. I'm not going first.
What does that matter?
That has zero to do with it.
Or second, I'm not going
what
first.
Is that?
It don't matter.
First,
well, I determine the order, so we'll see.
I'm not going first.
It don't. Going first shouldn't matter. It should be what you do.
I ain't going first. And I rode in Texas. You know what Texas? No, I say for tomorrow.
You're blaming Texas?
I'm staying for tomorrow. Texas.
You can say it how you want to. You still an emotional. You're still an emotional battle.
You know what Texas? Quinn Ewers. I don't care. You got your Wrangler contract. I don't care. I ain't fooling with Texas, man.
That's
don't
great.
Even put them on the sheet.
Oh, they're gonna be on the sheet.
Oh, they're gonna be on the sheet. They're gonna be on the sheet.
I don't know why you hating on
of all.
Like Texas was your downfall or something.
I told my man. I ain't gonna talk about
man, look, I got a sheet your downfall.
We're not gonna revisit all this, but you literally said, "I can't learn nothing. We can't get nothing from this."
And that's
your downhill.
Y'all want some more? look, y'all want some more, man. Look, for Renard Williams, man, I'm for Down South Football Podcast. I'm out. Fellas, y'all got any last thing?
I'm watching the Duquesne game from first quarter to fourth quarter, the whole game. Sorry, that's for tomorrow.
Hey, man, I got something, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, if y'all go and watch the ESPN video, man, I'm going to take a little somehow Saban call out of his book. If you need to close the gap on your insurance needs,
oh, there we go.
Hey, make a damn appointment.
Make the appointment. Hey, make the
In the
appointment.
word, hey man, I was inspired by the great Nick Saban.
The GOAT.
I know we gotta go. I know we gotta go. But you know what was funny when she was reading off his contract numbers and everything?
Yeah.
You notice he never went back to that, right? He said,
he never go back there.
He was like, what? And then she was like, Miss Terry signed off on it. If you don't know anything about Nick Saban, Miss Terry is the one that's in charge of that house. Okay, so yeah, Miss Terry signed off on it. Another $100 million.
He wanted to sign the contract. Miss Terry didn't sign it off. Man,
hey man, give me that money. That man.
And Dave, to go to your point, if you're going to buy lotto tickets and you ain't got no life insurance,
don't let me catch you at the line.
Don't let me catch you at the line.
Here we go. All right. Well, for that infomercial, we will build the company that we did.
Yeah, man, it's a real build, man.
We appreciate y'all, man. Just a little conversation about the little Deion situation. Y'all know, drop in the comments, man. Anything else, tell a friend, tell another friend, man. Right at almost going to 1,000, but we trying to get to 5,000-10,000 before this season is over with. So that's what we going for. We want y'all to chime in with us, man. Some really great interviews coming up. So hey, tell a friend, like and subscribe, man. But nothing else, man. Down South Football Podcast. We out, man, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.